live. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jimmy was on again. We have been paying a little bit of attention to chat, looking at Reddit for a little while, and I guess at this point of the day, it's just about 6 o'clock, about 3 hours left. I'm going to try to check up on a little bit of the work that I've been working on a little bit from the weapon and player movement side, the game mechanics, that sort of thing. So we'll be checking with some animators, seeing what's going on there. Just to kind of reiterate a little bit of what we've gotten done today, we this morning decided we're going to do barricades, found that out right around 9 o'clock. Smed walked up. I walked in the office by 8:50 and found out. And started streaming then. From there, Mitch and the artist and everyone kind of took over to start working on the barricades. Actually, matter of fact, Bill Yates, our art director, is still here working on a few of the damage states for that. The initial implementation, what you just saw, was what we call it's a code build. It's a local code build. That file hasn't been checked into the build just yet, so it's kind of a prototype version we can all go review on there before we decide to introduce that bit of code and that art directly to the rest of the team on our main build. But hopefully we'll be getting that kicked off pretty soon, and we'll get a chance to see that on everyone's machines and make sure it's playing nicely on the release versus debug builds and all that fun stuff. Because that's just part of development, is making sure that everything's going to work on all the different environments. They do different things. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's go see what Favali's up to. I think I heard something about rain. I'm coming to you guys soon. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Where's Favali, man? Who did he take off to? Favali! Hi. Sorry, we're trying to find Favali as we get the camera stuck on some cords. Let's see where he went off to. You see Favali anywhere? Favali! Sorry, am I yelling too loud for the camera?
I don't think so.
Where did Favali go? All right, we're good. Let's go swing in with the animators instead. Sorry, this is exciting. Like, typically this is kind of the end of the day for a lot of us, is just checking progress on everything. We really is a collaborative effort, making sure that we're tracking features that we're currently working on. Hey guys.
Hey.
Here I come. We couldn't find Favali.
Hey.
This is
yeah,
that's right. No, I mean Favali right before we went live was like, hey, I've got some stuff I want to show you. It had to do with rain, so we're gonna go check it out too. So, but we were here this morning. I don't know, it was somewhere around like 10 o'clock this morning, and had a chance.
Still here.
I can tell you, I did a
okay.
We're still going.
and I did a straight, and so this is the third-person version. You want me to just continue?
Yeah, no, yeah, go for it, man. I mean, like, you know, once again, this time of the night, it's kind of like, you know, business as usual. It's you kind of show people what we're up to typically.
We got the uppercut going in, and then I did the basically the right straight.
Now, how long of a work in progress have these particular been? Like, has it been the last few days or like a day? Or?
Yeah, last couple days.
Okay.
Basically. And then the first person to coincide with that. So we got the uppercut going in.
Okay.
And then I got the straight going, so.
Yeah, previously in first person, what you were seeing was a little bit different. We, third person, we had, oh shoot, we don't have the shotgun mic. That's right. I'm gonna hold this over here. But previously in first person.
Sorry guys.
No, it's okay, it's not your fault. What you were seeing before was third person had the jab, it had the cross, it had a hook. In first person, all we're seeing were hooks. We need to make sure those match, obviously. So in first person, you know what your character looks like to other players, and you can really see what that impact looks like.
Right.
But yeah, so go ahead, I'm
sorry. The problem we're having is that we want to make sure that we match the third person with the first person.
Yes.
The timing's got to be pretty similar, so we're working on that.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very cool. And as a matter of fact, Sean Johnston and I work a lot together, as well as DePriest, because a lot of this stuff with the Morpheum Network and everything is a direct impact on gameplay. It's not just how pretty the game looks, it's how the game feels. And to a lot of us here, that's the most important part. We need to make sure that everything connects properly and that the visuals we're giving have some sort of gameplay meaning. The impacts need to make sure they feel like the damage they're doing. We don't want to hit someone with something that doesn't do a lot of damage and it just sends someone reeling back and that sort of thing.
Right.
So really it's a back and forth thing with me and Sean Johnson typically, and DePriest. How do we approach all these technical issues with weapons especially?
Correct.
Like right now we're discussing the issue of detaching the head from the arms, which is actually a pretty difficult thing for us to do right now. And that's been an ongoing discussion for a long time now, and we start approaching that here pretty soon, so we'll see. But, so today you've been working on the first and third for the punches. Over here, Mr. DePriest, you helping him out with that and some other things, or?
Well, I kind of wanted to touch base on what we talked about at lunch, about some of the problems we encountered in Morpheum and how we solved those.
Oh, right, that was earlier. We were actually talking about
test your memory.
Pizza. I was munching on pizza and talking about a few of the technical issues that we run into. Yeah.
And my particular example was, here's Morpheum. First of all, let me show you around this if you want to get close.
Very, very simple.
Oh yeah, thank you. So this is our state machine that we hook up all the animations into, and they play through these states, and we've kind of got them all organized into kind of their general idea of what they do. Like here's our attacks and recoils. And earlier we were talking about, well, how do we blend these two together to work correctly together to give you the feeling that you've just hit a zombie, but you know you're being attacked. So I'll show you some of the individual animations to show you this example. Like here are a few of our attacks.
And what you're seeing him do right now is we're just jumping through different parts of the tree. There are different states that can be, I'm mic'd up, I'm good. But there are different areas that get triggered based off data that comes from code and tuned from our design side of things. It's a big collaboration of things. We have to have code send the right messages based off the data that designers put in. The animators will then receive that. It'll pick where it goes inside of this crazy little tree network, and then all the animations that Sean Johnson and Brad Constantine work on get triggered from the network. So it's a
perfect. I'm glad I didn't have to say that.
It's a very long. It's a very long.
That was perfect, and that's exactly what happens. So I'm going to show you some of the recoils now. These are the full body recoils. Kind of different styles for each zombie set that we're going for.
Sure. And these are the blends, which you're seeing right here, right?
These are the additives I was talking about earlier. So this is the solution of how we let a zombie attack you, and we hit him and know that he's actually recoiling at the same time. And these are what we blend with an additive animation over the top.
So if we could explain to people real quick, like why is he in the T-pose and what is the T-pose for people that don't know?
The T-pose, it will start at frame 0 and calculate the delta of the very next frame, the differences between the next frame. So what we have is a T-pose, and the additive you're seeing is just him rocking back. And that's the only thing that will layer over the top of the other animation. It's just that additive. So I'm going to go ahead in the game and show you kind of these punches.
Can I have that? Yeah. Hold on a second. Let's switch mics.
We're going to switch mics here. Is that one not doing so hot?
Yeah, it's
here you go.
Too far out of its range.
All right, and we're on mic B. Bravo.
No, it was just staticky.
Oh.
There we go.
We're good there?
We're good there. I think so. Here, can you hold on to that? Just stick it in your lap there on the desk.
How about here?
That's all good.
All right. So what we're trying to achieve here, if you didn't hear me, is we're trying to achieve a blend between an attack and a recoil on a zombie. And we do it with a spine additive. And I'm going to go into game now and show you that effect of what we've tuned up. Oh, here's a bunch of zombies on me. Let me get these guys away from me into the sunlight a little bit. Oh, a lot of them.
You've been AFK for a little while, I think.
Yes, I've been waiting for you.
And actually, something you're seeing right now.
Oh, look at that! Look at that blood splat.
This isn't something you'd see in a later version of our product. Right now,
let's go to this guy over here.
Yeah, there we go.
A little bit cleaner. Maybe I can track one of these guys. See him attacking, and we'll get a good punch on him as he attacks. Let's see if we can get these happening at the same time.
I'll do sound effects for you.
There you go. Yes, turn it up. We can actually feel the impacts a little bit better. And then tag that guy right in the face like that. So you want to know you're being attacked, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to go like, why am I dying? But I'm kicking ass here, but I'm dying. So it's just the way to blend those in there. And the cool thing we have coming up is each weapon we have, we're gonna attach a different recoil to each weapon. So a baseball bat just might knock this guy around or out of his shoes backwards or something like that.
Can you show it in third person as well?
Sure.
I really love the way third person, when we first started working on this,
oh yeah, look at him fight his way out of this. Go for it, dude. You can do it.
Come on, Waldo.
And some of the blends, like initially when we put this in, there's obviously some issues that you'll see when we initially we implement some of these animations early on. You'll see some things where he goes to punch while he's moving, and he'll just go into sliding mode and stuff. Right. So you're not seeing that right now, as we've worked through a lot of that.
We lure some away from here. They're kind of busy.
You know, also you might notice that he's not stepping forward when he's punching, and that's because he may go through a wall.
Sure.
Currently,
yeah.
There's no collision detection on that, so.
Right. Which is something we're working on.
Yep.
Tagged him good on that one. I like to attack and retreat. That's my favorite.
Oh, wow, you got two of them. Nice.
Super punch.
Ooh, awesome. And actually some other things that I've been working with these guys on, they've been working with Greg Spence as well. Greg Spence, one of our engineers here, is finding server-side solutions to be able to do melee detection in real time versus actually projecting a box out and saying, I'm hitting this. We're actually going to try to swing something out there. We're testing that right now. Probably talk to Greg about that in a little bit, I imagine. Actually, I think earlier he said that he had an update on that. So I haven't had a chance to talk to him just yet. None of this stuff really at this point is planned. beforehand. So we'll hopefully get an update from Greg. It'll be the first time I'm hearing it as well. And just real quickly, I want to jump over to Brad's PC, if that's okay.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I'm going to finish these guys.
Yeah, if we can pass that mic over, if you can just clip that onto him there. This morning when we came by, you were at what state? You had a couple poses drawn out physically.
Just started posing out the wolf for a walk, and so here we have the quick variation of the wolf walk forward. So as you see here, I pretty much finished up the walk, and now I'm moving it forward along Z, so we know exactly how fast it's going to go forward. And here I can show you the joints inside. And one thing I wanted to show you while you guys were here is show you some of the curve data that we deal with. For example, let's say I'm going to move this foot right here. If you look down on the timeline here, each one of these red ticks on the timeline is a different key position for that foot. So if you watch as I scroll through, you can see the poses that I'm doing just for that foot, the one that's highlighted there.
And all these are like, it's essentially layers on bones, or what is that like when you click on each one?
Basically what it is that you have a timeline, so you're moving the controls through space.
Sure.
According to time. So once we've got our key poses here in where we want them, we can come in over here on the right and we can edit the curve data. So for example, translate Z, this is what his foot is doing when it's moving forward. So if I was to grab this point right here where the foot is on and move it, you'll see it update actually in the file there. So you can see I can do very fine adjustments and stuff using the curve editor, and it'll update automatically in there. Another thing that we use is we also use a motion trail. And let me show all. And you can see here that I have an actual visual representation of the path that the foot is taking. And so as he moves across, you can see it actually following that line there.
And you can read that data per area, or you just...
So let's say I'm my foot is right here. I can actually grab this point on the line and actually move the foot, and it will update my pose on it.
So now okay, there you go.
See, so I can actually edit it, the position of the foot in real time without having to leave the scene, and I can do real fine adjustments here.
Sure.
I have one more thing I wanted to show you. It's a sign of entertaining.
All right.
Let me open this up here. I'm going to show you our deer.
Meanwhile, I'll punch this guy if you want to see it.
He said, let's punch some more things while we're
Punch
waiting.
some stuff while
there he goes.
Brad's loading it up here.
The old attack punch. Ooh, you got him. Oh.
And what you saw there is actually it connected a little bit off to the right to the head. That is a design and code side thing, which we were looking to solve with the collision detection on Melee. So that'll help solve that issue. Because right now, essentially, we're projecting a box out. So it might look a little goofy sometimes. We want to make sure that melee combat feels right and is also proper.
Right.
Yeah.
Left-right punches on their face.
All right, what do we got over here?
Okay, over here on the deer, I wanted to talk a little bit about how we set these characters up for animation in the game. If you were to click on here, you can see that the deer itself is made of a mesh. And this mesh is made of points. We can actually see the points. If you were to grab one and move it, you can see that you can move around and that stuff. So the entire thing is made up of these points. And so I'm given the mesh in a neutral pose, and then what I do is I actually build the skeleton and the controls that go inside. And one of the ways...
Yeah, but what's the term for that?
It's rigging the character.
Yeah.
So setting up a rig that you can then use, controls that you can then use to animate and move him up and down. You can make him jump up and down, and that sort of thing. Once we have the bones set up, well, we need to actually attach the mesh to the bones. So we're telling the mesh which bones to follow, and we do that with a process that we call skin weighting. So let me show you a little example of that. So here's a good example. Here's my left leg right here. You can see any of the area here that is brightest white, that has the most influence from that bone. So if I was to grab that joint and rotate it, you can see that the part that I have painted is the part that gets influenced by that. And the same with all of the other things. So we actually have to go through and pick each bone one at a time and go in and paint the influence for the mesh to follow. And when we do that, we're able to get really neat effects. We can get really nice sort of muscular effects, you know, where you can move stuff around, and it really, you know, it works a lot like how you would want it to work in nature. All right, so then once we've bound the character to the skeleton, we usually put it through some motions to make sure that our rig is all set up correctly and that sort of thing. So right here I've got the flinch for the deer, but what I like to do is I like to sometimes pop up.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Right, and you can see him go through the motions here.
And is this the most tedious part of your day right here? Oh my God.
Hey, so then you can get a little laugh. So and then we want to test the character and make sure that it's all working correctly.
I like it. I like it. So this is how we test range of motion, apparently, in all of our characters in H1Z1. Yes. I hear every animator has their own way of doing this, and this is nice.
Well, and it's very interesting because when we work with these characters, they're not real characters. I mean, you can actually bend them in on themselves. They really do fold up. You have to be really careful with the way that you move them around.
Sure. Well, I mean, just a quick question. I mean, for a lot of the people out here who are interested in the animating game design side of this, like, what is the most, I guess, tedious? Like, what's the most fine-tuning part of getting one of these characters ready for game when it comes to the animation? Is it like the weighting, the rigging? Which part of that is?
Yeah, it's all about the same.
It's all about the same. I gotcha.
Yeah, you just have to have patience. It's just one of those things that you do sort of methodically. You know, you just work your way through it,
sure,
one joint at a time. The same with animating. You generally start with the main part of the body. So as you see here, select this handle here. These are the keys that the body follows. There's only like 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's all that the body will do in there. So it's only a couple of keys. And then let's say something like the neck has a few more keys in there where you can actually see it bending more, stuff like that. So we animate a lot, I mean, the same way that they do on paper.
Sure.
For example, where we're getting poses and then we're letting the computer sort of do the in between the poses there. And we just sort of guide it, you know.
Very, very cool. I mean, like from the beginning, like receiving the asset itself through regging, weighting, to the animations for the states, how long do you think that kind of process typically takes? I mean, for all you guys. I mean, as far as the third-person character stuff goes.
To rig and weight a character takes about a day.
Okay.
And then when we animate the character, we usually do, I don't know, a couple of animations finished a day.
Sure.
2 or 3.
And then you're always tweaking the skins.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why Broom's usually yelling across the office at Carter. He's like, "Hey!
It's not twisting right or whatever."
I swear I made those pants look different. What's going on?" I think I heard that a couple times from Broom in there. You guys heard from him earlier. He's our one of our character artists here. But very cool. Anything else show off tonight, guys?
I think that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Thanks
very
for
cool.
stopping by.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
See what else we got going on. That's right. Twitter handles, anybody? I don't think this isn't a big Twitter office in here, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, no, it's not a big Twitter office in here.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Dude, that was so funny.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Everyone and like who's watching outside and people that are watching around the office are laughing so hard.
Hey,
Yeah,
but
that was so
do you have a charger, by the way, so that I can like plug my phone into your desk?
Yeah, bro.
Can you plug it in for me, please?
For you.
Can you plug it in while I walk around?
I stream.
Clegg, everybody. The one and only. The napping Radar Z in the corner.
There you go.
All right, thank you. I'm going to plug this in real briefly. I would like to find... Anyone seen Favali?
You guys want to see what I've been working on?
Yeah, dude, Clay, can you actually show them real quick? Do we have a mic for him?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, here's a mic. I'm going to go plug this in real quick, and why don't you show the folks what you've been working on for a little bit. I'm working late tonight, so I got to make sure that I get keys to the people who get my apartment tonight.
You want to say something?
Hey guys, am I on? Am I live? Hello? If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Adam Clegg. I'm a game designer on H1Z1. I was on the stream earlier in the day talking with devs, talking with fans. I've been talking with press. I finally got a chance to eat. It's pretty awesome. Food's great. I'm going to put this mic on. I usually don't let people look at me when I dress, but for you guys, there you go. So if you guys don't know, I'm a level designer on H1Z1. Some of the things that I've been building, if you want to look at, this is kind of the props that I have to use to make things in the world. Our prop list will get larger, and as you can see, you know, it gets, you know, all the way from like road signs to like pipes and curbs and sidewalks and walls. This is like a little mini car wash thing, jail cells, to other stuff like boards and planks, stone walls and furniture, you know, all that good stuff, beds. So I've been making some cool things. Like I made this little kind of like outpost type of scenario, kind of like a compound, and this is like a smaller, crappier compound. The people who live at this compound or took this compound aren't going to probably live very long from the zombies. It's only chest-high walls, very easy to get into. That was kind of like the point, to make it seem like it wasn't very safe. And then you have over here, you can see like it's getting a little more barricaded. The walls are secure on the outside by gates. There's barbed wire on the top. Let's go inside. And you can kind of see they're building like a community now. They're starting to build a house. This is like their area over here where their cars are. They're working on this van. You're kind of basically trying to tell a story. And since this place is more protected, then more things can happen on the inside that the community could do. And then you have like a, you know, a makeshift place where they're sleeping out in the open over here. And then this is more of like a much more fortified compound. And in all of these places, I'll tell you guys, you'll find loot at every single one of these places that you come into. So it might be blocked off by people that have taken it over, but if it's free, you can go in there, try to take the loot, try to build on top of it to secure it so it's your own place. This is more of a like very protected compound. The gates are super tall. They got tons of protection on the outside. There's fully built houses already on here. You can see that the house on the inside is kind of fully propped out, and it doesn't look like it's a big mess, you know, because people can live here with the protection of the walls. They've actually been able to fortify themselves. So that's some of the stuff that I've been building. Another thing that I've been trying to work on is a warehouse. As I go into here, I'll just show you real quick. This is what a warehouse looks like when I don't have any props and it's just kind of empty. So I just have this empty shell. And then I kind of use the props that I have over there, and then I can build something like this. And then it looks like it's a warehouse. This kind of feels like there's kind of like an office space up here. Let's slow my camera down. But you know, it's kind of like taking the props we have, building lots of areas for people to explore. You'll be able to find loot in here. You'll be able to find, you know, who knows, weapons, people camping out. And it doesn't always have to be like a crazy propped area. You can have like an empty warehouse. What's one over here? But just have, you know, just a little bit of loot in here. When you walk into this one, you know, it feels empty. This one's still work in progress, but it's still worthy enough to find loot. It's another area that you can walk around and explore. And basically I take these things that I'm building. Here's like my play space area. I take all these things that I'm building, turn them into groups, then I go into the real world, and let's see if I can go into the world here. And I start placing them into the world. And once I place them into the world, I can start molding the terrain, I can start painting roads, and I can really start setting a scene for what it's going to actually look like in game. So if I can get in here really quickly, as got my fan-made wallpaper here. Somebody made this like yesterday or today even, I think, and I thought it was so cool I had to make it my wallpaper. So good job, guy, if you're watching, or girl. But let me load into the world here real quickly as it spins around into existence. Sorry guys, it's just gonna take a minute. We're loading this massive world. There we go. Okay, so this is like the gas station area. So basically, as you can see, there's already been houses and props placed, and so I could probably take, you know, let me do an example here for you. I could take like this plot of land where there's nothing on it, take an already existed group that I made earlier, right? Place it into the world, and then build on top of it. It kind of looks like it's into the ground, so let me fix that. There we go. So now it's in here, and this will be a place in the world where you can go. It'll be off the road. This won't be necessarily where I would place something like this. I'm just trying to show you guys as an example. And then once you have your scene, you can kind of build on it. You know, it's pretty empty on the outside. You know, maybe you want to put rocks, or maybe you want to put, you know, a camper with a truck out here, because this is probably where he would hang out and live. And you're kind of just building the scene. So that's what I do on top of the other stuff. We're talking with devs and talking with fans and everything. This is usually what I work on every day. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Oh yeah, I'm the one who's like hosting this too at the same time. Hey Jimmy, what's up?
I don't know.
We should go to the next thing. I don't know. Where should we go next?
Let's go talk to Greg Spence. I actually do need to know what's going on with Melee stuff.
Jimmy needs to know what's going on with Melee stuff, apparently.
And Favali's back too.
And Favali's back.
Look, Favali's back.
He's
Favali's
back.
back.
What are you doing, Favali? You having fun down there?
You know, it's hit the fan when your engineers are hiding under desks. Like,
I'm an engineer.
I have a picture of Tom in our old office under his desk, and I still can't explain to this day why he was under the desk.
I probably can't either.
I think it's because Mitch screamed, "I have an idea," and Tom just instantly like dove under his desk.
That would explain it.
Typical reaction. I guess while he's crawling around, like, I guess for mocap for our combat. Mr. Spence, do you have a moment, sir?
All right, so back to Greg Spence and Jimmy talking about Melee.
If you want.
You guys good with that? Cool.
Yeah. Hanging out.
It's like the evil Daystar. All right, cool.
Just crashed my client right before you walked in, so now I'm restarting it.
What crashed it?
I don't know. I was running around doing something, and it crashed. It happens.
It does.
It happens when it's in development.
That's what I always do.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like right now, all these builds that you're seeing, like as we run around, especially with the engineers, like these guys are working on a lot of times very slightly different code bases. They're all making their slight changes and debug builds. They compile their own code, run their own servers locally, and test everything out. And once they make sure that everything plays nicely with the rest of the code base, they're gonna push that back into our main build. And we're spinning up our other environments right now, so we won't be so worried. We want to be able to break our environment. Like, that means that we're actually making some pretty quick progress. Not that we want to break it often, but yeah, so it's definitely helping out with our iteration. So what you got going on, man?
Well, I've just been working on Melee combat, and we've been talking to the animators about what they're doing, and I'm hooking up the code side of it. And basically what I'm doing is giving them the ability to connect up to 5 unique melee actions per weapon. And then on the victim side, there'll be 5 reactions that are synchronized to that. So we're starting with something like fists. They're going to be able to do 5 animations. But what we have hooked up right now are only the first 3. So you've kind of got a right, a left hook, and then kind of a jab. And then the last 2 aren't hooked up yet, which is why when I click a couple times, nothing happens. But you can see the zombie sort of flinching left and right, and that's sort of synchronized with the direction it's coming from. So it's still got a little bit of work to go, but that's getting hooked up.
I was like,
and then when you switch to another weapon like an axe or the torch, you can have up to 5 other different animations. But for a lot of weapons, they may only do 2 or 3, and they can define that themselves.
Sure.
But on the code side, we give them that flexibility to hook up what they want to do. And we want combat to be interesting and feel cool. So if you're swinging a baseball bat, we want the guy that you're hitting to react differently than if you're hitting with an axe or a knife or something like that.
Yeah, once again, I want to reiterate just for the people in the stream real quick who this is really the first time they've had a chance to see this much in depth of what's going on. And some of the stuff may look a little goofy right now, but once again, we're very early on in development. Since Greg's joined the team up here, we've had a chance to talk a lot about how we want this to feel, and he's actually got some pretty cool ideas on how we're going to handle melee detection on server side, which is a pretty actually difficult thing to solve because there's a latency involved. And we want to minimize that as much as possible because this is a real-time combat game, and we really want to go for that more realistic feel of like visceral hitting things.
And one thing to keep in mind is that doing combat in an MMO environment is very different than a single player game.
Absolutely.
Where you can do full physics and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can't typically do some of that in an MMO environment because you've got synchronization issues with other people that are seeing what's going on. So we're going to get it as far as we can, but still keep the game so that it's performing well, because that's top priority as well.
For sure. So what you're working on right now is hooking up those different animation states, make sure we're sending those right messages. Now, is this currently tied in with the physics detection in the world yet on the server, or are we still working on that one?
No, right now the melee is sort of separate from the physics system, and it's sort of more traditional, and that's some more traditional MMO where you're executing an ability.
Yeah, you throw that out.
We're checking to see if you're within a certain amount of distance, and just basic checks. But our development approach is to take small steps and get increases and see quick turnaround on things. So we start with the little achievements and get those done, and then we'll work in the more complex physics reactions and stuff like that later on.
Sure, very, very cool.
Hey, there's something really cool going on over here.
Where?
Are you ready, Favale? No, don't look yet. Don't look yet.
Don't look yet, apparently.
Hold on.
I'm going to look.
He can look. It's a secret.
I'm going to look.
Don't. What do you? Oh,
I typed in the wrong thing.
he typed in the wrong thing, and as a programmer, that's not good.
I typed in rain equals crazy.
Rain equals crazy? Well, you're kind of giving away something here. Why would you say that word?
And I think about it, this is the first time that we will be showing rain, actually.
Because I heard the rain.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're... What is rain?
So...
Here, somebody turn that light off. Where is it? Oh,
well, I don't know if that's what we want to do. Do we want to turn the light off for the camera?
Is it a clapper?
Oh, yeah, because it's really dark.
Yeah, you can't see anything.
See this at all?
Be able to see that?
Nope.
Let's try.
And this is on your local build, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so even this is still a work in progress. By the way, this is Ryan Favale. He's one of our graphics programmers over here, and he's been working on some really fun things like this.
All right.
So what I've been doing today and yesterday is getting the rain to look more correct when you move around the scene, which is not very easy to do, especially when you go too fast. You kind of go ahead.
It's like you're moving faster than your rain cloud.
That's what's happening.
That's essentially what's happening, you're saying?
Are you saying you have a black rain cloud over your head always?
Show
You can't get away from it.
By typing in rain is crazy.
Whoa.
And there's my rain.
Uh-oh, the curtain has been torn down.
I've seen behind the fourth wall.
Right.
Whoa, that looks cool.
That actually looks really sick.
So there's
Vidya
this
games
thing doing this for your personal rain cloud. To make it look like it's
By the way, I hope stream can hear him okay.
Oh yeah, can you?
I'm going to do a little mic.
I know my mic's live.
All right, very cool. I'm going to pop it over here so people can hear a little bit better.
Okay, cool.
So, like, what are the things you've been dealing with on rain? Like, obviously, the intensity levels and everything else. What about it interacting with the environment? What kind of things?
So that is disabled right now, but when it rains, I'll have different intensities on the surface to allow it to reflect more, because rain's more reflective. So if it builds up, pooling and water flow as it goes along the terrain. Those are currently disabled because it is just not working exactly right yet. It can look pretty good, but I'm in the middle of debugging it.
Yeah, I hear you. So essentially, I mean, pretty much what he's saying right here is, and I've seen it with it on, we just don't have it enabled right this second and look like, so we're not able to show it, but when it rains, it's not just going to be, hey, look, there's things falling from the sky. Like, the world is going to be wet. Your arms and everything else, depending on what type of material it is, I have a feeling. You're just looking at the material type it is, it's flagged, and it will react according to that when it gets wet.
Yeah, so things like wood will get wet in a certain way, dirt will get wet in a different way, and same with the asphalt.
Very, very cool.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome deal.
That's going to be sweet.
What else we got around here? By the way, that's Sean Campbell over there. He looks busy. He works on a lot of our.
Banging my head a little bit, but.
What are you banging your head on? What are you banging your head over, man?
I'm just distributing our navigation stuff. Right now, it's all crunched on one computer. I'm trying to get it so that well, it takes about 15 minutes to do, say.
Oh, to
a
export
zone,
the-
yeah, a zone the size of H1Z1
Sure.
right now. It's pretty large. It's actually about 140 million triangles, so
Oh my god.
it's quite a bit.
Yeah,
But,
so
Do the math.
essentially what he's saying is when we do a export of terrain and everything for the build, we also have to build separately the what we call the Navmesh.
Right.
Essentially,
Process.
yeah, you want to explain real quick what that is?
Yeah, that the Navmesh is basically based on the terrain, obviously, but it's cooked in at generation time. So before we do a new build, we run it, and it'll tell us where in the world zombies can, run around, and you don't want them floating in the air, so they have to know where they can walk. So that's what the Navmesh gives you. So
Yeah.
it's but it takes a long time to generate. So I'm trying to get it so it's distributed, and I can get it down to a couple minutes, I think.
Yeah, previously we were dealing with there was I think one build where the nav mesh didn't export properly. We thought it did, and we had flattened a lot of terrain out. So previously, all the NPCs thought that they could fly because previously there was a hill there. We exported the terrain, but the nav mesh has to be essentially like wrap over the terrain properly and didn't get exported. And those are the kind of issues you run into there. So he's looking into the time it takes to do that, make it more efficient.
Right.
This is the guy right here, as a matter of fact, that works on almost all of the zombie pathing stuff, and with Mitch on the behavior side.
Some behavior stuff too, a lot of physics, so a little bit of everything, I guess, but one thing at a time usually.
we try one thing at a time. It doesn't always work out that way, but we all kind of jump in where we can.
Is that bad when NPCs are flying around?
Yeah,
walking?
we don't want to do that.
That's not good.
No.
Okay.
we don't want flying NPCs.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
Good to
Sean.
What about you, Jimmy?
What?
What about you?
Dude, my job is really like...
Jimmy, what do you do?
I love what I do, but the problem with what I do is it's not exciting to watch. We actually even talked about for April Fools for some of the designers over on Planet Side 2 as well. Is like, you do the work in progress stuff, you place things in the world. Like, my job is a lot of numbers. Like, I deal a lot...
Numbers are fun.
Numbers are fun, but
I
essentially...
remember when I watched Sesame Street. Numbers were awesome.
Not those kind of numbers,
okay.
maybe a little more complicated numbers. But one of these days, we'll get around to tuning some things live on stream. That'll be fun. Like, at least just show the gameplay and the iterative process.
I think when you show a gun and you're shooting it and you're explaining all the things that are happening while you're shooting the gun, that's what people want to hear.
Ooh. As a matter of fact, Clay, can you take over for a moment? I gotta go hand some keys over.
Yes.
Do we do a short break?
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, that's a perfect time.